All right, welcome everyone to another mock draft episode. We are going to, in the month of August here, leading up to the fantasy football season, going to be drafting out of every different spot in a 12-team mock draft. We'll have a couple other mocks going to that kind of pertains to some other types of leagues as the off season goes along. But today we are going from the number 2 slot, and wherever you are consuming this, the number 1 overall mock draft is up there as well. My name is Peter Klein. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Couch Potato Diary, and here we go. Hitting start, hit OK, and we are underway. So going first overall is CeeDee Lamb. We went Christian McCaffrey yesterday, and the more I thought about it, the more concerned I am about the injury issues that he has. But then you look at who is up after him. Tyreek Hill, just on principle, not going to have him on my team. Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold's throwing to him all year. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So we're going to go Ja'Marr Chase. Oh, well, yeah, that's what Ja'Marr Chase looks like. We're going to go Ja'Marr Chase. So there we go. Christian McCaffrey goes 3, Tyreek Hill 4, Justin Jefferson 5. Bijan Robinson starts a bit of a running back run with a couple of them at 7 and 8. Then a few Wilson, Nakua, and Brown, 9, 10, 11. Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs. So that's a real good tandem that Team 12 is going to have in their backfield. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes with the second pick of the second round, followed by Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Drake London, Devontae Adams, Devon Achane, Chris Olave, Travis Kelce, the first tight end off the board with the 9th pick in the second round. Brandon Ayuk goes 10, and now we are waiting for Team 11. And so some interesting options here. We have Travis Etienne, who is up on the board. We're Team 2. I'm so used to being Team 1. We're up. So Travis Etienne, I faded him last year, and it turned out he is a pretty good running back. We need a running back here. I worry what our running backs are going to look like if we don't take Etienne. So let's go with Travis Etienne. Then it goes Henry, Jacobs, and then back to us. Now, what happened the other day was we got caught without a quarterback and without a tight end until the very end, and it got ugly. So we aren't going to avoid that with Josh Allen, who is the number 1 quarterback available right now. But that is something to keep in mind. I think we're going to go back to a guy who we went with last day. I just feel like this is going to be a major breakout year for Deebo Samuel. And so to be able to get him here at the beginning of the 3rd round feels like a win. So after that, it's Nico Collins, Jalen Waddle. Josh Allen does go as the first quarterback off the board, followed by Sam Laporta, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs. Another quarterback in Jalen Hurts goes, and then Pacheco and more. And then we get a couple more quarterbacks, Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, with Rashid White and Malik Neighbors in between them. Jackson followed by Joe Mixon, Michael Pittman, and DK Metcalf. Then it is CJ Stroud, another quarterback going to Team 6, followed up by Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, and Mark Andrews. So here we are now, back at the top, the back end here, the 4th round. We have James Cook available. I like Cook as an option. I think he is probably the most talented offensive weapon that Josh Allen is going to have at his disposal this year, and I think they recognize giving him the ball more is a really good way to go about things in your offense. After that, for running backs available, it's Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, and then a ways down, it's Aaron Jones, James Conner, and David Montgomery. At tight end, it's Trey McBride, who is available, followed by Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, and George Kittle. We waited a bit too long on tight end last time. This is a mock draft. We're going to see. How does our mock draft turn out with our going tight end here? So let's go tight end with our 4th round pick with McBride. Walker goes, Kincaid goes, and then look, worked out perfectly because now we're going to have James Cook right here. Just for reference, the other quarterback option that's available according to ADP is Anthony Richardson. The wide receivers available are Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, T. Higgins, and George Pickens. Sorry, my cat wants to jump up. There we go. Hi, Bailey. All those players are available here as well. But I think James Cook is a steal here in the 5th round. The one thing I want to look at the quarterback spot, I am a little bit worried we're going to be on the wrong side of a quarterback run here in a sec, but I'm going to gamble it and go with James Cook. So let's see if that gamble pays off. Like I said, I think that they kind of learned that they can use Cook in a few different ways. And I think given some of the issues they had at running back, I think that this is going to be an offense with the issues they have at wide receiver, this is going to be an offense that kind of turns to their running back a little bit more. So it comes back around to us, and I think we are now in a really great spot. Available, the top one ADP wise is Rome Odunze, an interesting player. Sixth round might be a bit much for me, just with a rookie quarterback and all of the weapons they have out there. Also at wide receiver is Jordan Addison, Xavier Worthy, and Chris Godwin. So a few receiving options I'm not thrilled about. And then you have at running back, it's Najee Harris, followed by Zamir White, Raheem Mostert, a couple of running backs who are available. And at tight end, it is Evan Ingram, and then it does kind of fall off a cliff. So looking at it now, I am happy with the decision we made to go with McBride in the fourth round. I feel very, very good about where we are at there. And I think we have to go with another, as they call it on the fantasy footballers, another onesie position. I think we're going to go Kyler Murray. After this, like Jordan Love, I think will be fine. But we are at a point now where I think this is a tier break. And I want to get Kyler Murray. We were left kind of holding the bag the other day. And I don't want to be in that position again. And so now it's interesting. Our receivers are Chase and Samuel, so elite. Our running backs are Etienne and Cook, so pretty good. We're not going to look for another tight end or quarterback at any point in this draft. Odunze is still there. Ingram is still there. Zamir White has popped up, Raheem Mostert, and Calvin Ridley. I said yesterday, I think people are sleeping on Mostert a little bit. This offense is still going to be explosive. He is still going to be a part of it. And so I think in the 7th round, getting Raheem Mostert is a bit of a steal. So I love getting a Raheem Mostert here in this spot. And just kind of rounding out a little bit more depth in our running back room. And then after that, like there's a lot of pieces that I'm not really sold on. Addison, Pollard, Odunze, White, Ingram, Rashee Rice. Chris Godwin's interesting this year, but still not totally sold. So there are some pieces coming off of the board that I don't love. Jaylen Warren not quite making it around to us is a bit of a darn, but that's all right. Now, looking at what's available, the number one player for ADP is David Njoku. After that, it is Brian Thomas and Keon Coleman and Christian Watson for wide receivers. As my cat almost knocks the microphone over. A couple quarterbacks in here at Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy, and a running back in Austin Eckler. This is a spot where there's a couple receivers that I'm quite interested in. There's actually a few players that I'm quite interested in. And so I am going to hope that I can get a few of these guys here. So looking in this spot, this is where I think it gets a little bit, like there's a few options that I really, really like, and a few of them at wide receiver. So I'm happy that we went running backs a little bit earlier, because I would love to come away from this with a couple of Christian Watson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and a little bit further on down the line, a Jameson Williams. Sorry, my cat's claws are very sharp. Those are three of the players I would love to come away with. And if we did that, to add that to our kind of can't miss wide receivers, I would feel very good about our situation. There's a couple running backs who I kind of like that I think are being slept on as well, in Brian Robinson and Tyjae Spears. So we are going to go here with Christian Watson, lock that pick in. None of the guys who we had mentioned go off of the board, and so we are going to come right back here with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Brian Robinson goes right away. That one was probably a little bit lofty to think that he would fall to us in that spot. But Christian Watson is a very talented receiver, and when you look at the Green Bay pass catching options, you look at the Green Bay pass catching options, I feel like he is the most talented one. And so I like coming away with that. And I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, to get him a few rounds, basically get him at the same time as Tyler Lockett, I like that pick quite a bit, and I feel very, very good about where we are at with him. So it's a couple kind of roll of the dice type of receivers. We didn't get Jamison Williams. That was the one that we kind of sacrificed there, as it didn't quite come back around to us. But now I think we have another running back who I am quite interested in here. I mentioned him the other day. I think Jerome Ford's going to be the number one running back with Cleveland. I think he was a very, very talented runner when you saw things go with the Cleveland Browns. And so I think, again, to get him in the 10th round, love this pick for us. So we got Ford, then Samuel and Schultz come off the board, and we're left with a few, as you would assume, left with a few lottery tickets. I will say, I am in a league where you get a point for every 30 kick return yards. And so Rashid Shaheed in this spot is quite interesting, but we will pass on that because I don't believe that's going to be something here. Romeo Doubs being available, is a little intriguing. Could go for some tight end depth with Pat Freiermuth, who is available. But Chase Brown in the running back spot, like I don't know if it is just an absolute stone cold 100% lock that Zach Moss is just going to be the guy out in Cincinnati. I think Chase Brown might have a bit of a say in that. And so we're going to go with Chase Brown here. And so again, locking in some AFC North running backs and building out that depth in that area. We're still getting a lot of receivers coming off the board. Charbonnet was one that we also had an eye on in that spot there in the 11th round. As it comes back around to us, we're going to have 4 picks left here coming up. Do have to use one on a kicker, do have to use one on a defense. So really, we only have a couple of picks here. Josh Palmer, I'm just staying away from all things Chargers in this offense. The other day, we went with Josh Downs as a wide receiver. That's not a bad option still here. I might try to mix it up a little bit, but there just isn't a whole lot that you love in these spots. And so, honestly, I might try to get a jump on the defense and the kicker's a little bit early here. I don't know. There's a lot of really good defenses out there, man. So that still feels like something I shouldn't do. So we're gonna not do that. We only have a minute left here on the clock. Brandon Cooks as the number 2 option out in Dallas does intrigue me a little bit. Could even, Kyler isn't a lock to stay healthy. Matthew Stafford may not be the worst as a backup play, but I'm not gonna really do that. This one is a real dart throw. But there's been some pretty good camp talk about the rookie receivers with the New England Patriots. So I'm going to go Jalen Polk with with my 12th round pick here. Lock that one in and see what comes around. So Quentin Johnston and Aaron Rodgers go after that pick. And now again, we're just in a spot where I don't love a lot of these options that are out here right now. Isaiah Likely would be quite the depth tight end play, given that Mark Andrews was in a car accident. Hopefully he's all right. So this is a time I'm gonna go with the 49ers defense and just get a head start on that situation so that it doesn't loop back around to me and I get the second worst defense in those spots. And I have always been like, we're not taking our kicker at 14 there. We'll wait for this to come back around us to get our kicker down there at 15. But you can see a lot of defenses coming off of the board, and we still get Brandon Cooks in this area as the 14th overall pick as a dart throw. Don't hate that at all. Have always loved the talent of Brandon Cooks. And now in the beginning part of the 15th round, we can take whatever kicker we want, and we're going to go with Evan McPherson as our kicker. And so as the draft kind of winds down here, our starting lineup with this team, it is going to be at quarterback, Kyler Murray. Our running backs are going to be Travis Etienne and James Cook. Our wide receivers are Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuel. Our tight end is Trey McBride. And then our flex will be one of Mostert, Watson, or Jackson Smith and Jigba. And so we have those guys on our bench at running back along with Jerome Ford and Brown, and at wide receiver along with Polk and Brandon Cooks. So again, I feel so much better about this draft going and just getting a good tight end and a good quarterback there early on in the 4th and the 6th round. I really like when you look at the players that are going around After we picked McBride, it's Kenneth Walker, which you wouldn't have minded. Dalton Kincaid, which I'm trying to avoid that tight end situation out in Buffalo this year, given that there's two of them. And then we get his teammate, Cook, right after that. Then it goes Kamara, Flowers, Pitts, Cooper, Richardson, Higgins, Dell, Kittle, Burrow, and Pickens. None of those are ones that I feel really bad about missing out on. Like, you look at the players kind of going in that area. I don't mind passing on a couple of them, and then I feel really good about the depth pieces we were able to get after. So it is looking to me like you want to lock in your full starting lineup there. Once again, I want to get one of the tight ends. I want to get one of the quarterbacks. I just don't want to have to deal with that. So I am liking this team a whole lot better than I liked the one in the mock draft round number 1. We're going to be doing these throughout the NFL preseason here as we get ready for the start of the season. Make sure you subscribe wherever you are consuming this. If you are watching, make sure you like it. If you are listening, make sure you review it. And follow me on social media. I'm at Primetime Klein, and I'll talk to all of you later.